I'm Luke.
And I'm Lars.
This is two guys talking about every fantasy movie ever made. Lars, how are you doing tonight? It's been almost a year.
It has been almost a year. We have not spoken to each other
since last year.
No, things are really great, and obviously it's fitting that we're doing tonight's episode about the movies we're doing because we're about to go to the most magical and happiest place on earth.
Really? And where is that? Jersey.
Which exit? No, we're biting the bullet and we're going to Disneyworld. Leaving in 6 sleeps.
Cool.
That's what we've been measuring as. We're leaving on Sunday morning and driving to Savannah, having an afternoon wandering the streets of Savannah, and then having a pool party and pizza party, and then going to the resort on Monday morning, and then actual parks on Tuesday.
Cool.
We're there for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then we leave Friday night.
Very cool.
So I've never been. I take that back. I've been for about 30 minutes. I went to a conference at a resort that's not on property, but it's like right next to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went to a fireworks show at Epcot. Didn't really get to stay and see anything, and it was in July, and it was basically walking around the surface of the sun. And we saw the fireworks, and I was like, "Oh, that's really cool." And then we were back.
Yeah.
It came about and we actually in May of 2020 we were going to go to Mary Helen's wedding, our cousin, who actually just had a baby. So congratulations to them. And if you're a praying type, he's in the NICU. He was preemie, so lift up your thoughts and prayers to him. But we were going to go to the wedding, and I was like, "Hey, let's add on a trip." And my thought was like, we'll go to like Six Flags, we'll go to we'll go hiking, we'll do this stuff.
Yeah.
And Elizabeth immediately was like, "We're going to go to Disney?" And I was like, "Oh, I hadn't thought about that, but okay." And the more we thought about it, like, "Oh, yeah, this makes sense. We're like almost halfway there already." And so we started thinking, we started booking it. It was amazing. And we had all this stuff. And like right around December of 2019, we got like our portfolio of like, you're going to Disney and you're doing this stuff. And it was going to be great because Eleanor was free. And, Elliot, they were just at the age where they could maybe remember stuff, but all these things. And then the funniest thing happened.
What was that? I don't know. So we're what? December 2019, January 2020. I don't remember anything important happening around then.
Like anything like right around February, March of 2020. Nothing happened. Nothing big. No. So, and I haven't been before, and I'm like, all right, this is finally going to happen. We're going to go, and so then we scheduled for September of 2020, thinking, well, by then we'll be fine.
And it was, right?
And it was not. And then we said, okay, we're just going to go ahead and cancel it and get our money back. Yeah. And then we were like, you know what? Let's do it. We can go January 2022. It'll be a perfect time because it's like right after the holidays, so everybody is still back at school. They haven't like taken another vacation. He misses some school, but there's still Martin Luther King Day, so he doesn't miss a ton of school. It's cheaper. We have to pay for Eleanor now, but she can actually ride rides. It'll be great.
Yeah.
There's no variants that are going to still be around.
Right.
So there are, but we're gonna roll the dice, and Elizabeth and I are fully vaccinated. Elliot is as vaccinated as he can be with his age. Eleanor isn't, but we're just gonna mask up and hope for the best, and just do what we can because we're going to Disney. We've got everything all planned out. Elliot and I are gonna build a lightsaber together.
Nice. I'm excited. That's
Like
the thing I would
a
love
movie
to do.
level
Yep.
thing. I'm excited to drink the blue milk.
Nice.
I'm excited to do some of the old kitschy rides, like the Haunted Mansion and like all this stuff. So they've gotten more and more excited about stuff, and it's funny to see like what they're excited about, because when we told them that they were going, they didn't give two shits.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have any frame of reference of like Disney World, and I think we had more of a frame of reference for Disney World when we were little. Like there was that was a big deal.
Yes.
Like if you went to Disney World, that was
we were living on the other side of the country, and we had friends who went several times, and
we didn't, but it was like, this was back in the day of, there wasn't internet. It was just the commercials that you see on TV, and we also didn't have the Disney Channel. The only time we had the Disney Channel was like that free weekend. Right? Like we had Nickelodeon, so we were Nickelodeon kids growing up. We were Snick and Doug and Rugrats and Salute Your Shorts and all those shows. We weren't Disney movies. Our Disney experience was the movies that were in the big plastic VHS. And I remember Mary Jo and Dave Weatherby had all of them. Mm-hmm. So whenever we would go over their house with Katie and Sarah, we would watch Disney movies. But and we grew up loving Disney movies, but that was like our frame of reference for Disney. It wasn't Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse. It was Aladdin and Lion King and Little Mermaid and all those, right? Like that was that. At least that's what I remembered. I don't know what about you.
That was a lot of it. You'd see commercials for Disneyland. You'd have the Super Bowl winners say, "We're going to Disneyland, Disney World." I've never been either. I remember a couple of years ago we went to Victoria's best friend. She actually she works at the park. Or
really?
She worked at the park at the time. I don't know if she still does. And she was getting married, so we went to their wedding there. And Victoria was a bridesmaid, and I was just content to go around, screw around in Orlando for a day while they're doing bridesmaid stuff. And she's like, "Oh, well, what are we going to do with Luke?" She's like, "Oh, I've got an idea." And my ears immediately perk up like a friggin'
like a Mickey Mouse.
Yeah, like a Mickey Mouse. I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, "Oh, well, here. How about this? I'll give you a day at the park." I'm like, "What?" Because she also worked at Universal. Which was awesome, but at the same time, it was this, like, oh.
Close.
I didn't ask for Pepsi.
And you don't want to be a dick. Like, that was a very sweet gesture of her, and I'm sure you had fun at Universal.
Oh, it's great. It was awesome. It's just I
didn't ask for Pepsi. That's a wonderful way to describe it.
Yeah.
So we're talking about Disney because we watched some more Disney movies. And with the advent of streaming, Disney Plus is incredible.
Yes, it is.
It really is, because there's so many. But it's a
terrible
movies.
interface.
Yeah, it is. But there's so many great things on there. And it's been neat to watch them with the kids and get them excited about different things. We're slowly introducing them to the Marvel movies. Mm-hmm. He really liked Ant-Man.
Ant-Man's fun.
Ant-Man's fun. I'm going for the fun ones. Yeah. So we're doing they like Guardians of the Galaxy. Those are fun.
Yeah. So you immediately went to Endgame
and then Winter Soldier. Which Winter Soldier is one of my favorites, but it's not one of the ones that I need to go show them.
Thor Ragnarok, which is just colorful and
so fun,
so good.
See, the Marvel movies for me, like most of them are good, and that's the only adjective. Like most of them are good. There's a handful of them that are really good.
Yes,
and then there's two of them that I don't want to watch, or three of them I don't want to watch again. Can you pick them? Can you figure it out?
All right,
Can you figure it out?
Okay,
yes.
Age of Ultron.
Yep.
All right. I would say probably Doctor Strange.
Nope.
Oh, okay.
I love Doctor Strange.
Really? I thought Doctor Strange was a standard comic unit.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's okay. Age of Ultron, Incredible Hulk.
Yep. 2.
Okay, and Iron Man 3.
I liked Iron Man 3.
I don't know,
but it's a sequel.
Oh, Thor 2. Yeah. Thor 2 is kind of, I how little impression it left on me. I forgot it existed.
There we go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
I want to go through and watch it all again, but that is a lot of previously on the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And see, I did that when Infinity War came out.
Yeah.
And I went through and watched them all, and I really appreciated a lot more of them. There were the ones that I really didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that I was like, oh, these are great. These are like legit wonderful.
Right.
Again,
like
your Guardians of the Galaxies, your Winter Soldier. I thought Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming was wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot of them that are just like, hey, these are really great movies.
Yes.
And then there's a lot of them that are like, okay, that was good.
That's there because
like Black Panther. What were you gonna say about Black Panther?
I was gonna say it's about Black Widow.
Oh,
Black Widow was good. It was a standard unit of comic book movie.
Mm.
Black Panther was wonderful, I thought.
Yeah, that's up there on my top list. But so we're getting to show them those kind of movies, and we're showing them the Disney movies, and Disney makes amazing movies. I love Moana.
Yeah,
I love Moana. Frozen is really great, and we've talked about. Have we done Frozen or
we did?
Just
we
Frozen
just did
2?
Frozen 2.
Okay, Frozen 2.
Great, good
movie. And then their newest one, their 60th. This is their 60th movie.
60th Disney animated movie. Yep.
Disney animated movie. So we don't count the Pixar movies. We count the Disney movies, which at some point, I forget what the first. The Dinosaur was their first CGI movie.
Yes,
it might have been Dinosaur.
It was.
At some point, Disney animated movies went from cell animated, people drawing, to computer animation, which they went back from with Princess and the Frog, which was great. We need to talk about that one at some point. They're now all computer animated. There is a distinct difference between, I feel, Pixar and Disney.
Yes, for lack of a better term, it feels like Pixar doesn't have a formula, and Disney has had some kind of formula to it.
Yeah.
Pixar seems like it takes a lot more
chances,
and it has a lot more varied storytelling. That's not to say formula is bad.
No, and especially in the case of this movie. But it's also, you're right, they Pixar, I feel like, deals in a lot more weighty ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Like you think of Inside Out, and we're talking about where emotions come from, and the pain of growing up, and how bittersweet that is.
Right.
Those are big concepts, right? Like that's big. That's not just, well, I've got to go. I'm Mowgli, and I got to go find the tribe of man. Like that's. I mean, there's other stuff happening there, but it's not.
Yeah.
Really esoteric, thoughtful concepts.
What do you say to your father after who you've never met because he died before you were born?
Which was Onward, or even like WALL-E. Don't mess up the planet. That seems really simple. Well, we're going to tell it's like a Charlie Chaplin movie, and it's beautiful, and
it's heartbreaking, and it's wonderful.
I hope you liked WALL-E. I'm going to go off on it because it's amazing.
Yeah, no.
WALL-E's one of my favorites.
WALL-E is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Or even something.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
The first 5 minutes of Up is a perfect story. Yeah.
They could have just stopped.
Yeah.
But then they went on and made a good movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Pixar's a little bit different, but Disney still has it, and I feel like Encanto was a fine addition. It was not bad. At least I don't think. I think it was fine. there's surprisingly not a lot that happens in it.
No, it is a pretty. There's not a lot that happens, but I've been joking to myself since watching it that it's generational trauma. The movie.
Yeah.
Because it's dealing with. I really liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah.
It's dealing with your family's expectations for you and how sometimes you can do everything right and you're still not enough, and how that weighs on you despite everyone on the outside seeing you as perfect. Because your expectations for yourself are so high, you're gonna crack. And that's
and also how the most meaningful of intentions, because obviously spoilers, but we'll talk about this. But the villain is the grandmother in the movie.
Yeah,
she's the villain, but she doesn't mean to be. Like, her intention is actually protecting her family. She has good intentions,
right?
And she doesn't hate Mirabelle, the main character,
right?
And she doesn't try to not love her. It's just she's forgotten what was important.
Right. And we don't even know if we could call... I don't even know if I could call her a villain. It's just that she is... she's not even an antagonist. There isn't really an antagonist. There is a problem to solve. But...
she's the obstacle. Maybe that's the best way to put it. Because you're right. Yeah, she's not like she's not a Disney villain. She's not maniacal or anything like that. And she's not really set against Mirabelle, but she is the obstacle to get to change. Like, she's the person that she's the one that has the bad information or the bad idea, and she's the one that needs to change.
Right.
And Mirabelle's journey, while it's about finding her, ultimately it's about saving her. It's about saving the grandmother. It's Mary Poppins. Mary Poppins doesn't go there to save the kids. Mary Poppins goes there to save Mr. Banks.
Right.
And that's what this is all about, is saving the grandmother. So the story is, and you get it from the trailer. First is bright and colorful.
Yeah,
bright and colorful.
I didn't know a single thing going into the movie other than it was Magic Family.
Oh, I got it. Like, it tells her at the end, like, I'm the one that doesn't have powers. Like,
I didn't
it's
even
like,
know
well, and then it's about her. It's gonna be about her not having powers.
Yeah. Well, I didn't even see that. I just only ever saw like picture and Magic Family. Like, I didn't see a trailer for it.
I saw the trailer, and so what it is this family. It's in Colombia. They are chased out of their village. The mother and father with their 3 children, chased out of the village by bandits. So like there's some sort of upheaval going on, and they are trying to escape, and they're carrying this candle, and like other people come to escape with them, and the bandits catch them. So the grandfather, the dad goes and like tries to stop them. He gets cut down, but somehow his act of cutting, stopping them from chasing after the family, creates magic, and this whole valley becomes magical. And there's mountains surround it, so it's impenetrable. And the family, the mother and her 3 kids, each get powers. Every subsequent member of the family that's born into it also gets powers, and their house is magical. And their house kind of tells them what when it's ready to, like, hey, now this next person's going to get a power. And one of them is super strong, and one of them
can tell the future.
And one of them can make you heal you with her cooking, and one of them is just perfect. Like, basically everything just turns into flowers when she walks around.
Right.
And one can, I think one can change the weather, and one can hear things anywhere, and then can turn it into anything. And people marry into this family, but like their gifts change this town and protect this town and raise them up and make everything great. And then Mirabelle is born into it, and she doesn't have a power.
Right.
That we get this great. The songs are amazing, and it's Lin-Manuel Miranda, and they are earworms, which suck a lot because I don't know Spanish. So all I know is dun, 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 encanto, la, 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 la. I don't know the words. I just know this like melody.
Yeah. Completely understand.
God. And then the kids sing it, and it's like I just hear it over and over again all the time in my head. We watched it at least 5 times because Eleanor will wake up and like, can we watch Encanto? Like she'll like whisper it. They love it. And it's so that's the and you know where the movie's going. Like so, she doesn't have powers. One of her cousin is about to get his powers, and he talks to animals, right? Yeah, he talks to animals. But then she starts seeing that the magic is cracking, and we come to find out like her power was like she was the glue that kept the family together, and her power was actually she understood the house. Like so, she didn't really have a power, but she was the most important part of the family was that she was the glue.
Right. There's that line that the grandmother has about how she asked her husband for a miracle and she got hurt.
Yeah. Yep. And there's so one of the 3 children could see the future, and he had a premonition and he ran away. And we don't talk about Bruno. one of the songs, which is a great song.
Yeah.
And comes to find out that, obviously grandmother's telling Mirabelle, don't go investigate this. Stop trying to help things. You're not helping anything. Go away. Come to find out that Bruno is actually living in the walls. And there's that heartbreaking shot. So they have dinner together all the time. And
They've all got their own spots.
And they all have their own spots. And Bruno has made his own spot inside the wall so he can have dinner with them every night. And I gotta tell you, man, woof.
Yep. There's a lot of emotional sucker punches in this.
I did not see that one coming, and
No.
that was a sucker punch because he's made his own little place, and you can see a little crack in the wall where you can see his family still. Ugh. That was
Yep.
Yeah, that one came out of nowhere. But again, there's not a lot of plot stuff. Like Mirabelle just tries to save things. There's a lot of incredible just set pieces for it being in a house. Because each room opens up into this magical world that that the powers kind of create, and it's to your point. You were talking about how it's about the pressure your family puts on you. It was interesting that the Mirabelle's our hero and she doesn't have any powers. The people with powers have just as much pressure put on them, and they're just as anxious. And they're just as insecure, but they just have powers.
Exactly, and that honestly adds some more pressure to them in a different way.
Right. Like I'm expected to be able to lift the world.
Right. No pressure.
No pressure.
Another great song.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're all. I mean, it's Lin-Manuel. That guy's amazing.
The bit that hit hardest for me was so. The house gets destroyed because the candle goes out, because the magic goes away, because
grandmother has forgotten what's important.
Grandma's forgotten the important things. And their house is in shambles. And the whole thing that the grandmother has been doing is that they need to protect this village, this valley. We need to help as many people as possible. So they've been wondering where they're going to live, and the entire village comes up
and rebuilds their house.
To rebuild their house.
And lay down your burdens. Mm-hmm. Like, you've done enough. You've done so much for us. Let us take care of you.
George Bailey moment.
Yeah, man. Oh, you just... Yeah. Like, you guys have taken care of us. You sheltered us when we were lost. Let us take care of you. Mm-hmm. It was beautiful. We're both tearing up right now. Yeah, man. No, that's beautiful. And of course, so they rebuild the house, and then Grandma gives the doorknob to Mirabelle so she can go open it up, and then it turns back to the magic.
Right.
So there's a lot of neat. I mean, again, for a simple story that not a lot happens, like plot wise. But
No,
it's more
it is
just
a very, as we said, there's no real antagonist other than generational trauma.
yeah. I did you know that Mirabelle? You know who she is? What else she plays?
She's in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
She's Rosa Diaz. She is the no nonsense, like, don't F with me, motorcycle riding
I've only had this
by, like, just like this crazy badass. But if you ever heard an interview with her, like, her voice is naturally, like, high pitched and super feminine. And, like, that's her voice is Mirabelle. But I saw, like, this, hey, come watch Encanto. I'm like, Rosa. Rosa? Why do you sound like that?
So, fun fact, I've only ever seen the first episode of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I actually just finished it this year. Or I'm sorry, last year. I went back through and watched it all. It's really fun. It's, I'd say it's on par with, it's on par with The Office and Parks and Rec.
Cool.
I prefer Parks and Rec over The Office.
I could not stand either version of The Office in any form. It was like taking a cheese grater to my face.
Did you like Parks and Rec?
Parks and Rec is genius.
Parks and Rec is I prefer Parks and Rec. I actually like. I think that the supporting cast in Parks and Rec is what makes it so great. Because I love Leslie Knope, but then watching Tom Haverford and
Nick Offerman.
the incredible Nick Offerman, and even just like this, just the random characters that'll pop up, and Jerry and Retta and like all those people, it's better. It's a better show.
It's rare to see that much of a sense of optimism in comedy, let alone television in general. And the show
it's all positive. It's all super positive.
And that was what strikes it. What that is to me like the striking part of Parks and Rec.
I mean, you can still
have great.
Well, right, yeah. Well, you can still have like super sarcastic moments and bitter moments in it, but ultimately there's still a sense of like, we got this. We can do it. Mm-hmm. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine was that too. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine, like on the spectrum, it leans more towards Parks and Rec. Really good callbacks, really good characters, really fun, really cool ending. But back to Encanto. Sorry for the tangent. Also, Parks and Rec, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Lin-Manuel Miranda makes an appearance. He's one of the guest stars. He's Amy Santiago's perfect brother. Now this one was it's incredible after 60 years that Disney can still make a movie that can make two men in their mid to late 30s tear up just talking about it.
Yeah.
That says something that they and not in a cheap way, but in a way that like allows you to talk about emotions and access emotions and talk about things that are bigger than just I've got superpowers and I'm going to go build a house and blah blah blah. Like, no, it's bigger than that. Things can mean more than that stuff and be smarter, and they don't have to be filled with endless pop culture references. They can stand on their own. So it's cool. The second movie that we watched, I led off with Encanto. What was the other movie we watched?
So, Sword in the Stone. I have a complicated relationship with this film.
Yep.
So, it is based off of the first chunk of my literal favorite book, Once and Future King.
Mm-hmm. And which we've also talked about earlier in one of your favorite movies of all time.
Exactly, in Excalibur. It's not a terrible adaptation of that first chunk. It's missing some stuff. And depending on, and I found this out recently, depending on the version of the book that you're reading, there are parts that are missing from it. It follows a young squire named Wart, who's squire to Sir Kay, a knight who's just a brash, junk, piece of crap. And then
even I don't even think he has eyes. For most of the movie, he is eyeless.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, the magical Merlin comes to town and wants to train Wart to teach him to be more than just a squire, and
to actually become Arthur, which is who he is.
Exactly. And I watched it again. I actually watched it again today. Yeah, and it's good. It's solid, but there's a couple of thoughts I had about it. One, we have definitely lost something going away from some traditional animation, because there are some absolutely gorgeous hand-drawn bits in here. The thing that is entirely, when they're walking along the water and it's just entirely the reflection, it's gorgeous. It's a masterpiece.
Well, even the part where they're in the moat, and they turn into fish,
right? And that's they strip out a bunch of that from the book, because in this it's just him showing Arthur, there's other ways to live, and there's other people, there's other ways to think about the world. In the book, it's Merlin actively teaching him how to rule, going through various methods of governance, including fascism, democracy, and monarchy. It's very strange. They cut out an entire section where they turn into ants.
So they actually do that then.
That actually happens.
Because I kept thinking that was sword in the stone. Well, the kid pulls the sword from the stone. Okay, how do we make a movie out of this? And I didn't realize all the animal bits actually came from the T.H. White. Is it T.H. White?
It's T.H. White, yeah.
Yeah.
And the Mad Madam Mim fight. The Mad Madam Mim fight is in a different version of the book than the one I've read.
Okay, so these are actually just not pulled out of their the arses. This is okay. That gives me a better respect for the movie. I always thought that was this is just padding.
Yeah,
this is just weird.
And it pads it's 2/3 of the movie is padding. And
that poor squirrel that falls in love with Arthur.
That's really heartbreaking.
That's really heartbreaking. So Merlin turns they turn into squirrels, and they're running around the trees for some reason. And there's a female squirrel that falls in love with Wart, Arthur, squirrel, and they turn into humans, and she's crying, and she runs away sad. That was really sad. I mean, that wasn't Encanto sad, but no, that was sad.
Torn up over a small cartoon squirrel.
Right.
And it's it's really funny because it's contrasted with, they have this this other squirrel fall in love with Merlin, and that one's played entirely for laughs. And then the cute squirrel, which is utterly heartbroken, that one is meant to be, okay, this is our sucker punch.
Right. Oh, you were laughing. Oh,
no,
here we go.
Not anymore. It's good. It's weird. I don't have as much about it to talk about as I do Encanto, probably because Encanto, I feel deals with a lot more. But it's interesting because of how it feels like it's out of time, because it doesn't do enough. It doesn't do anything, so it's this weird, if this had been a short film, it might have been better. If it was just this Merlin and Arthur have weird adventures as animals, it might have gone a lot farther. But I also can't help but compare this to the other Disney animated English fantasy tale that they've got, Robin Hood, which is
better
in every conceivable way.
Well, it's funny because so I'm looking at the list of Disney movies. Mm-hmm. We actually watched Snow White tonight, which the kids hadn't seen before, because we're going to ride the Disney Rhine cart and all that kind of stuff. And after Bambi, there's a series of them that I haven't seen. It's Saludos, Amigos, The Three Caballeros, Make Mine Music, Fun and Fancy Free, Melody Time. It's just there's some
all the weird wartime ones.
Yeah, weird ones. And then you get to Ichabod and Toad, and then Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, Lady and the Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, 101 Dalmatians. bam, 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 bam. Like, holy cow, these are all great. Like, these are classic movies. I love every single one of the ones I just listed.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great. And then it's like 101 Dalmatians, Sword in the Stone. And then it gets into this weird area of Aristocats, which, and then Robin Hood, and Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. But then it's like Rescuer, Fox and the Hound, Black Cauldron, Great Mouse Detective, Oliver and Company. You know, so
how dare you besmirch the Great Mouse Detective?
I love it, but it is like that weird time period of Disney movies.
Yes.
So Sword in the Stone actually I feel like fits more with that weird time period of movies rather than snugged in between 101 Dalmatians and the Jungle Book. Like I feel like Jungle Book is still in that like Peter Pan, Lady and Tramp, Sleeping Beauty, like that level of movie. And Robin Hood should be like the end, like Aristocats is a weird one. Robin Hood should be like the end of like this was really great old Disney. And then we got into some weird stuff. And then Little Mermaid happened and like, oh, this is what we can make him.
We can actually do we've got our group back.
We somehow Disney Stella got their groove back. Yeah, I don't have much to say about it either. I feel like obviously Excalibur told that part of the story better. As far as him pulling the sword from the stone, now that I know that there actually are times where he turns into animals. I don't know. I've never read Once and Future King.
Mm-hmm.
I should, but I just never have. So I'll check it out. But there's Disney movies on our list that we've watched that I think are better.
I think most of them are.
Yeah. Even the one that we watched, the newest one.
Exactly.
I'm going to say that the newest one's a lot better.
I would 100% agree with you on that one.
Well, then, so where does Encanto go?
Well, I was looking at
Sword and Board.
Sword and Stone.
Yeah,
Sword and Stone. I'm thinking I liked Frozen 2 more.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm thinking that I would probably rather watch this because it's shorter than Pirates 2.
I would agree with you there.
Because Pirates 2 is a mess, but it's not as much of a mess as...
And just based on the other animated movie that's right below it, it's better than Black Cauldron.
Yes. It is much better than Black Cauldron. But Black Cauldron is very...
But then we get to Frozen 2, and it's like, oh, these are now dealing with bigger themes and stuff. So I'm going to scroll up for
Encanto. Yeah, I'm actually just trying to figure out where... Honestly, I would want to put it pretty high up there.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking Encanto's probably better than Dragon Slayer, but I might even go higher than that. What's your absolute ceiling?
I think just from sheer, like, fairy tale, like, so pure fantasy, it's not better than Sleeping Beauty. Because that is pure, like, Disney on point, creating something magical and fantasy. So it's not better than that one. Honestly, I'm going to watch it more than any of the other movies up until Sleeping Beauty.
Yeah, I think I'm probably...
and now that might be because I have kids, but I'm going to watch that again before I watch any of the other ones. And that's going to be on my list.
And that's definitely going to watch it again before Time Bandits.
It's a good movie. It's fine. But I'm not like sitting down, hey, I want to go watch a movie. What am I going to watch? If I get
Time Bandits.
Time Bandits is not going to pop up. But if I saw Encanto pop up on like my like recommended,
yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm going to watch that again. So I put it in between Sleeping Beauty and Time Bandits.
I think I agree with you. Cool.
Yeah, we watched one really really good one. Like for the 60th, and they made a big deal of it. Like they changed the logo for the animation studios. Like it's basically like our 60th feature.
Right.
That's impressive. Mm-hmm. And we just watched his first. We just watched the first feature tonight, which we'll have to talk about later.
Yes, we will.
But there's some interesting things in that one to talk about. So I'm excited to add Snow White to the list. But after 60 features, they've still got it.
Mm-hmm. There's a quality to Disney films which yes, they have their problems. Yes, they're not all great, but there is a quality to it.
And then looking back on some of them, we recently watched Peter Pan with the kiddos.
Oh, yeah.
And I love Peter Pan. And then there's some like...
Princess Tiger Lily.
Well, the...
Yeah.
The chief says how. And you know what? I appreciated what they did with that. So if you haven't watched it, on Disney Plus, they put up this screen, like right before it starts. It says, hey, there's some things in here that aren't great. They weren't great then. They're not great now. But they're in the movie. And we're not going to censor it. But we want you to know that they're not great. And you should think about that. And not like you shouldn't watch the movie, but think about what this means now. And think about how things have changed.
It's the Tom and Jerry thing. Like old Tom and Jerry cartoons now will have a statement saying something similar, where it's like they were wrong then, but if we remove them now, we're just removing that. We're pretending it never happened.
Yeah, no, you can't do that. You just need to talk about it and have a conversation about it, and expect that parents will tell, like we did, like, hey, that's not, this isn't how Native Americans should be portrayed.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you can't watch the movie or enjoy it. It's just, you should talk about it. It's a cultural artifact.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I think Disney movies are, like, we could do a sword and board on Disney. Like, Dad wanted to do James Bond because it showed how things changed. Can you imagine a movie about a Colombian family where a lot of the music is in Spanish?
Yeah.
In the time that Peter Pan came out? Nope. There's not a white person in ENCANTO. I think it reflects how things have changed, and how, in my mind, it's always it comes back to one of my friends, Rex. He was on the podcast.
Yeah.
There was a commercial that came out that showed, I forget what it was, but it was like, I think it was Coca-Cola, and they were singing like "God Bless America" or like "This land is your land,"
mm-hmm.
And it was all different languages. And what he said, this is great, because what this says to me is that company is a soulless company, and I'm not saying Disney is a soulless company, but they're a company, and they are profit driven. And what they've analyzed is that there are more people that will support inclusivity and hearing different voices and understanding more people than there are not. So they are
rolling the dice.
There's
an accountant.
They're betting on there are more people that will like this than not. And what that says to me is that they are a litmus test for how society is moving.
Yes.
So like they are not just doing this because they want to be woke, because they're hip and cool. They're a company, and they've done the market research, and this is what is important. So exactly. We're going to move this way, and we're going to drag the other parts of the country with us. So, I don't know. I dig it.
I agree.
But, so, Lucas, where can folks hear us?
We can be found on Cough
Medicine and Mucinex, and wherever your discerning humidifiers are sold.
Okay. We can be found on Stitcher and Podbean and Spotify, any major podcast service.
Coffer and Fleming and Coffer spelled without the E at the end. Exactly. So just cough with an R at the end. Our theme song, Godwin Road Trip, is produced by the incredible Ryan Boyd. They can be found at Ryandroid on Instagram and Twitter. And our logo is done by the wonderful Wes Forbes. He actually just spent the week at Disneyworld. He drank himself a round Epcot. We'll see how that went.
I have heard of people doing this. I've always wanted to.
I'm glad that we got our logo done before he did that.
Exactly.
In any case,
our logo is lit, and so was he.
watch a Disney movie on.
Yes.
It's things are meh sometimes out there. Go watch a Disney movie and keep wearing your mask. Please get vaccinated and take care.
I got my booster today.
Hey, there you go. You look very boosted.
Yes, I am feeling boosted.
Right. Well, good night, everybody.